Ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
The Beef Checkoff funded Beef Quality Assurance Program works to build consumer confidence in beef production practices. We'll examine the transportation component of the program and why it's important to the success of everyone in the beef industry.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. Over the years, beef producers across the country have embraced the Beef Quality Assurance, or BQA program, because it's the right thing to do, and because it's one valuable way to keep beef demand strong. The program offers comprehensive training and certification programs for all sectors of the industry, which helps raise consumer confidence in beef products. One important aspect is cattle transportation, which is a relatively new part of the BQA program. Today, we're going to hear from a variety of cattle transportation experts and get their thoughts on why training and certification is so critically important. Let's start with a closer look at why it was critical to add a transportation component to the BQA program.
There's no way around it. At various points in their lives, cattle are loaded up and transported from one point to another on trucks.
Transportation is a huge part of our industry, and we don't talk about it that much. When I first started talking about transportation and movement of cattle, they may be on a truck 5 different times in their life. Change of ownership from an auction market to an order buyer to a stocker operator, back to a feedlot, to a packing plant. I mean, it just goes on and on when you keep thinking about how much we move cattle. And it's very unlike other animal industries where they go from growing straight to the packer. They don't move them that much. And so we've got a real responsibility, if we're going to be handling them that much, to do it right.
The BQA program has been a valuable educational resource certifying that cow-calf producers and feedlot operators are using best practices when it comes to cattle care and animal handling. Now, a new BQA initiative is focused on transportation.
Through the years that we've seen, the Beef Quality Assurance Program has solved some of the early problems that we had. So it's really exciting as we go to the next level, and one of the next levels of BQA is in transportation. And as a livestock market operator, we see cattle that come in not the right way, and they're not handled the right way. Maybe their trailers aren't set up the right way. And so this is going to be the next step that we need as an industry to help raise that kind of beef that we want to raise, that humanely treated, handled easily, beef that come to the market calm and placid or go to wherever they need to go. So transportation is going to be a great addition to our BQA lineup.
And we're really excited by it because it really completes the responsible cattle management aspect of our industry from pasture to plate. There is not a part of the life cycle of those beef animals where they're not covered under a BQA program. And so now we're able to offer that and to better ensure our consumers that cattle are being raised in the best manner possible.
The new program provides useful online training, information, and BQA practices and certification for anyone who hauls cattle, no matter if they're a driver or a producer, and no matter the size of the truck or cattle trailer.
So it's got to be the whole process. It can't just be focused on the trucks and the truckers. And so how they're loaded, how they're transported and offloaded, I think in every one of those makes a difference. But that's where cattle that are taught how to be handled at the ranch level, they handle better regardless of the skills of the next person that gets a hold of them. And so I think we have that responsibility at cow-calf level to start this process right. So when they go to the marketing channel, they handle easier, they load easier, they transport easier, and they're used to that stress of handling.
BQA transportation is a valuable new educational resource and a way to ensure cattle are well cared for and high-quality beef is offered to consumers every time. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
And joining me now is Jill Schofield, the BQA coordinator for the California Beef Council. Jill, thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
So what would you say is the overall value of the BQA program to the beef industry?
Well, I think we can all agree that cattlemen and women are committed to two things: continuous improvement, making things better than they were before, improving on their operations, and commitment to the care and welfare of their animals. And those are two really important things for the industry and for the consumer trust that we hope to gain from our consumers. Beef quality assurance really combines all of those things. It provides training and education for producers to implement common sense husbandry practices, to really ensure that the end result, the product that we're all producing, is of high quality and meets the demands of our consumer. Essentially, it allows us as an industry to show that producers are not only talking the talk, but walking the walk when it comes to the care of their animals.
You bet. And obviously, transportation has not always been a part of the program, but a recent addition. Why was it so important to add transportation to this BQA program?
Well, I think part of BQA is that it's continuously evolving. It's not a stagnant program. It started really decades ago as something to take a look at residues in the product, at pathogen contamination. Over the years, we've seen those issues really decrease in terms of carcass quality. And so BQA has evolved to really look at animal husbandry, its stockmanship practices, stewardship practices. So it's gone beyond just sort of a food safety program to really implement practices that ensure the care of the animal throughout the life cycle results in a quality product. I think transportation and adding that component to BQA was a common sense next step in terms of the evolution of the program.
It's a critical element of an animal's life cycle, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you think about the number of times cattle are transported, whether it's on farm, whether it's to the sales yard, whether it's to a processing plant, there are a number of steps along the way where your cattle could be either on a stock trailer or on a hauler going somewhere. So the number of times cattle can be on a truck or a trailer going somewhere, and the number of opportunities to really improve on the handling of the cattle during that process, I think is really important to the industry. So it made sense for a transportation component to be added to beef quality assurance.
You mentioned an important word. You said implement. And so tell us a little bit. You obviously work for the California Beef Council. Talk to us about how state beef councils work in conjunction with NCBA to actually implement this at the state level.
Well, beef quality assurance really is an all hands on deck kind of program. So there's a number of organizations, a number of groups who are involved in beef quality assurance, both from measuring the program and ensuring that the challenges and issues that we're addressing in BQA certification are relevant and timely to what the current issues are, and really working with experts to implement those on a state level. So we work closely with a number of folks who work on a national level on the beef quality assurance program. We take the guidelines and recommendations that are set forth through good research, good data gathering, and then we take those programs and we implement them on a state level. And I think that affords states throughout the country a bit of flexibility to really address the needs of their producers. So I think we appreciate that in California we can put together programs that not only address beef quality assurance certification components, but that really meet the needs of the producers in our part of the country.
Absolutely. And tell me this, a lot of folks would be very familiar with the BQA certification process, but tell us more about the transportation certification process.
Sure. You know, it's not terribly different other than the content of the certification. Okay. There are a number of ways that producers can be certified. Certainly there's an excellent online portal at bqa.org where producers can go at their convenience and get certified in any number of training modules, and transportation is one of them. That is something that is available all times of the year, and it's free to producers to get certified online. And of course, there's also in-person certification events, and that's where state coordinators like myself and other organizations involved come in to put together relevant educational workshops at the state level to provide that in-person training. Regardless of what method you go to get your certification, there are actually two options. There's a producer level transportation certification, more for the folks who are hauling their own cattle to and from different parts of the ranch. And then there's a professional certification, and those would be more for the haulers who are driving the trucks to processors or feedlots or that sort of thing. So there's two different types of programs for transportation, and because the challenges for those two types of hauling are very different.
Absolutely. One last question. What kind of reaction are you getting from folks that are completing this certification?
Well, I think that the producers who have gone through it in California certainly appreciated that there was a need to really have additional training on transportation. That's such a highly visible, and as we already talked about, a pretty frequent process that happens when you're raising cattle. And I think it's not important for just the owner or the rancher or the ranch manager to go through this. I think anybody who's hauling cattle really needs to go through something like this. You need to understand both the challenges and the opportunities to improve that exist, that some of which you may already be practicing, but having that validation that you're doing the right thing is really important too. So the reaction has been pretty positive. I think that producers in California both appreciate that there's now a vetted program, certification program that they can go through or have their employees go through. And I think it also shows, again, that evolution of beef quality assurance, that this program doesn't remain stagnant, that we're looking at what the next set of issues are that we need to address as an industry. And I think producers in the field should be proud of that, this is another step in continuous improvement of the product they're all working hard to produce.
And that's what it's all about, continuous improvement. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
As Jill mentioned, transportation quality assurance plays a critical role in the health and welfare of cattle. To learn about in-person training opportunities, go to bqa.org and check out the events page, or contact your BQA state coordinator. Still ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll hear the packer perspective on why transportation training is so valuable to the beef industry. Plus, a cattle hauler tells us how BQA certification has improved the safety of his drivers and the animals they transport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When it comes to the beef business, there's no room for gray area. The decisions being made in Washington affect the future of the beef industry, the livelihood of your fellow farmers and ranchers. Your National Cattlemen's Beef Association knows there's what benefits cattlemen and there's what doesn't. To us, it's as clear as black and white. Visit joinncba.org to learn more.
When the field is your office, you never get tired of going to work. Cut, rake, bale, repeat. New Holland offers the power and versatility to get through the day. From small squares to large squares and everything in between, New Holland has you covered. Visit your local dealer today to find out more. New Holland, equipped for a new world.
Hey folks, I'm Bobby Hebert of Cajun Cannon from the New Orleans Saints. Come on down to the Big Easy for the 2019 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It'll be the biggest and the best you've ever seen. There'll be great food, fun, and outstanding music from country music duo Big and Rich. So join me and let's go to New Orleans January the 30th to February the 1st. Find out more at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Today, we're examining the Beef Quality Assurance Program, specifically transportation training and certification, and what it means to the beef industry. Joining me now is Lacey Alexander, Animal Welfare Specialist for Cargill. Lacey, what was Cargill's reaction to the creation of the Transportation Certification Program?
As a technical contributor to the BQA transportation certification process, Cargill was thrilled when we heard it was launched in last fall. We are also really excited that it's available online and in person. Wide range of availability in order to become educated is paramount to getting this out to all of our haulers.
Yeah, and so what specific benefits, Lacey, do packers see to this?
So BQA transportation certification is just another layer to our animal welfare programs as packers. The robustness of our programs are extremely important to our customers and is also beneficial when trying to meet and or exceed government regulations.
So Lacey, you mentioned consumers. In what way does the Beef Quality Assurance Program help you provide consumers with a better product?
It's simple, really. A healthy animal is a well cared for animal. A well cared for animal is also an animal that's been provided a low stress environment and great care, and shall and should probably provide a good quality product at slaughter. And a good quality product provides the right color, is free of bruises, is free of lesions, and should be able to hang a quality carcass and put money in the producer's pocket.
You know, we talk a lot these days about consumer perceptions, and there are all perceptions of the beef industry and beef production itself. How does the BQA program help improve consumers' perception of our industry?
When a beef producer goes through beef quality assurance certification, they're refreshing themselves, or at least familiarizing themselves with good management practices, and hopefully taking those home and putting them to work. We're living in a day and time where we have to prove what we say is true. And in some instances, we have to maintain that trust, and in others, we have to gain that trust. Beef quality assurance is a great way for producers to be able to put that link in that chain in consumer confidence.
Yeah. And so what would your message be to folks back home who may be watching this show in terms of why it's so critically important to you as a packer who sells our product to get BQA certified?
BQA offers an easy way of getting the latest science, up-to-date FDA, EPA, and USDA policies, and up-to-date and industry-proven good management practices. At the same time, it's free. It only takes 2 hours to complete. It's available online and in person. And you know, we don't know what we don't know. So if a producer would end up learning something during certification and take it home and put it to use, he or she may be able to put more money in their pocket at the end of the day. Cargill truly does believe that BQA, the program, is just another chapter in the North American beef story.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming today and sharing your thoughts, and thank you for everything that you and Cargill do to market our product to consumers all around the world.
Thank you.
As Lacey just mentioned, you can get your BQA certification in the comfort of your own home through the interactive online classroom. After registering, you'll go through a training module that you can complete at your own pace. You can also start and stop without losing your place. So what are you waiting for? Visit bqa.org for all the details. So far today, we've heard what producers and packers think about BQA transportation certification, but what about haulers? Joining me now is Ward Carpenter from W&J Carpenter Livestock Trucking. Thank you so much for coming today, Ward.
Glad to be here.
So tell us this, how does BQA transportation certification help a company like yours?
Well, you know, probably the majority of livestock haulers are small companies. And really two things, got a dialogue opened up. People finally started talking about what they really wanted and leveled the playing field out so the information's available to everybody. We know what the producer, the packer, the customer wants. So it just makes it a lot easier for us to deliver.
So has it resulted in some improvements in terms of your drivers?
Yeah, you know, we've discovered that we did a lot of things just because they worked. We didn't know why they were working. So sometimes when you get the science involved, you kind of figure out why you were doing some of the things you were doing and why not to do some of the things we've been doing. So.
And how has training resulted in better care for the actual animals that you're transporting?
You know, the great thing for the animal in this day and age is the animal has become something besides just a product. And so now, you know, in these last several years, we've started to take more interest in the animal. It's not just a commodity. So care for the animal, knowing what the animal wants, knowing, you know, there's a way to give animals guidance without even saying anything. So. Yeah, it's changed. It's definitely changed the way we care for the animal.
And I'm curious, you know, hauling cattle can be a dangerous job. Has this resulted in any kind of improvement relative to the safety of your folks?
Yeah, you know, we first thing we've actually tried to do now is with new hires. The first thing we try to do is run them through this, and you know, they'll pick up some things if they're not. Real aware of the habits of livestock, or how to read an animal, fight or flight, you know, or how. So yeah, it does help quite a little bit, just in giving them the ability to read the animal a little bit.
So one last question, Ward. What's your comment to the drivers who may be on the fence about whether or not to get BQA certified?
Well, you know, the answer is very simple. The packer, the producer, the grocer, the end user, it doesn't matter, are not going to have a handling policy that they're not going to enforce. And that's just what it boils down to.
So get off the fence, I hear you saying.
Get it done. It doesn't take very long.
That's a good comment, good recommendation. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
There are a couple of ways haulers can get their BQA transportation certification. One is to go online to bqa.org and complete the training module. Another is to contact their state cattle organization and ask about in-person training opportunities. Either way shows consumers that you're taking every step to keep cattle as healthy and safe as possible. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll give you valuable tips on how to safely load and unload cattle from your trailer. Plus, a look at some of the latest innovations in trailer design that can benefit your operation. Don't go away, we'll have more right after this.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor will do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll have access to key policy updates and insights from Beltway Beef. It's the best way to hear directly from NCBA's DC team. Beltway Beef provides valuable policy information, and it's free for NCBA members. Stay in touch with Beltway Beef. Join now at ncba.org.
Do you know all you need to about working cattle? Did you know there are proven methods that can reduce stress for the animals, for you and your crew? Now there's an easy way for you to learn from the experts who can help sharpen your stockmanship and stewardship skills. In interactive sessions, you'll learn better ways to work cattle more efficiently, skills that can help put more money in your pocket. Find out more and locate an upcoming event near you at the website stockmanshipandstewardship.org.
Welcome back. We've been highlighting the Beef Quality Assurance Program, specifically the transportation certification and its value to our industry. Recently, we asked Kurt Pade and Ron Gill, two well-known livestock handling experts, to give us a demonstration of the proper ways to load and unload cattle.
I think a little bit of noise here, that kind of noise, is just enough to cause them to want to move away from it.
Kurt's putting a lot of pressure, but they've all got a place to go, so they're not trying to come back on him.
Now here, this is a good spot right here. I got to step back, change her mind, then step forward. Give her time to change her mind, let her step forward. Then she decided to get on the trailer. And I don't have to be in a big hurry to get my gate shut. But if I'd have jumped ahead and tried to force them on there, they'd have been thinking of coming out. And so they decided to load, so now I can not be in a big hurry. I think a real important thing, Ron, and animals are either in the thinking frame of mind or the reacting frame of mind. When animals get in a tight alley like this or on a truck and they're stepping down each other's cornet bands, that'll change them from thinking to reacting or survival mode quicker than anything I know.
And I'm not going to use my flag yet. I might, as soon as I get around the corner, I may, because it will actually put more pressure up on the front if I use it up high, and I can get these cattle moving. I kind of want them used to it before I get there, but if I get it up high and make a little noise, then I got to be careful not to put too much pressure with it. But that's one thing I like about a flag. I can put pressure with some sound. But now I've got to quit because she's looking at my flag. As soon as I quit moving my flag, she made a commitment to get on. Now if you've got a bunch of cattle and somebody can help you, I can put more pressure on the front as he keeps flow coming. It gets even easier. Nice and quiet.
I think a spot here, counting cattle off the truck or trailer can really stir cattle up and make them afraid. Sure. Just being in this alley, we're just almost too tight. I'd just soon be out of this alley with these cattle coming off.
If you're going down their side when they're starting to jump, you'll actually see more of them jump off a trailer. So as they get to the back, slow down, because going up their side speeds them up, remember? Anytime I'm opening one, I like to be off to the side as much as possible before I pull that. And then I want to try to draw them off of that trailer. I don't want to, this is a good place to train the cattle that first get to your farm. When I open the gate, I'm asking them to come out and draw them out. I don't want to go up the side and try to force them out. I'm not saying you won't have to on some of them.
And if I'm working with Ron, I'm going to stay up here with these calves and keep them right there where those cattle can see them, so they'll draw them out.
I don't like them jumping off like that. I may try to slow them down a little bit. When I get the back, I'm just going to sit right here and slow them down just a little bit. So don't have as much jumping and slipping coming off the trailer.
You can find Kurt Pade and Ron Gill on the road at regional stockmanship and stewardship events all across the country. The training sessions provide hands-on learning in the area of beef quality assurance and low-stress cattle handling. If you'd like to attend one of these sessions and get BQA certified at the same time, just visit stockmanshipandstewardship.org for all the details on when and where you can find an event. What you put your cattle into when you're hauling them can also have an impact on their health. Here to talk about the latest innovations and improvements in trailer equipment is Lauren Fruworth from Merritt Trailers. Lauren, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about some of the innovations you all at Merritt have made over the last couple of years to improve the safety of livestock.
A lot of the innovations in this industry are typically evolution rather than revolutionary, and you can see in the trailer behind us one of the biggest things that we've done here over the last year or two has been a project that we call the biggest box on the road, which maximizes the clearances inside the trailer to prevent bruising, rubbing, any kind of adverse conditions that can affect the cattle in transportation.
Yeah. No doubt we're getting bigger cattle, and that is a critical element, I know, as we talk to packers as well. Let's talk about the driver for just a minute. Hauling livestock and loading livestock can be dangerous. What are the kinds of innovations you've made to protect drivers and handlers?
It can be a dangerous business, and there are a lot of options, a lot of features that you can get in a trailer to help the handling aspect, funnel gates, escape hatches, so a driver can feel like if they want to utilize these features, they can help protect themselves from the livestock.
So if you're a rancher or a trucker, before you even back up and start loading the animals, what are the things that should be on our checklist as we load and haul cattle?
A lot of the things involve just kind of basic going through the trailer, checking to make sure everything works, that the latches operate properly, the gating operates properly, all those kinds of little things that you have to do. So once you start the loading process, it's really too late to go back and find out that something doesn't work.
When cattle are coming back at you, that's a bad time to know that the latch doesn't work.
Yes, it is.
So I'm curious, how does Merit stay abreast of the changes that need to be made based on what's going on in the industry?
We have a lot of input from our customers as to what they're going through in the process of hauling livestock, but we also depend on a lot of groups, the NCBA, the North American Meat Industry Conference, things like that that kind of keep us abreast. We attend a lot of those functions and try to bring back what's concerning the transportation side of the industry and what we can incorporate into our trailer designs.
So you've got lots of options here on this lot, from actual stock trailers to big pots like this. When a customer comes on your lot, what are the kinds of things that you do to kind of help them identify what the right trailer is for their needs?
We ask them a lot of questions about what they're doing, where they're hauling, what their routes are, to determine what kind of legal weight limits and stuff they're operating with, and also the size of the livestock that they're hauling. Anything we can do to recommend better conditions for the livestock inside the trailer.
And there's nobody that knows better than the Merit family. Of course, the Merit family has been involved in the livestock industry a long time, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
For more than 7 decades, the Merit family has been dedicated to meeting the needs of the agricultural and transportation markets. To find out more about their trailers, just visit the website merit-trailers.com. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll look at some of the latest transportation research and how the results can benefit cattle producers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Say goodbye to your toughest pasture and rangeland weeds for good. Because one product offers season-long control, handles the widest spectrum of broadleaf weeds, and clears the way for increased forage with greater grazing flexibility. So you get more beef per acre at a cost that can't be beat. It's Graze On Next HL herbicide, and if it's in your pastures, plain and simple, weeds won't be.
Let's go to New Orleans and the 2019 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's the cattle industry's biggest convention for the first time ever in Cajun country, the Big Easy, a place filled with fun, food, and incredible sights. And you can't afford to miss the huge NCBA Trade Show.
Oh, this trade show is fantastic. I mean, it's so much fun to come down here.
There's no better place for cattlemen and women to learn, have fun, and connect with fellow producers from across the country.
Networking, see the people. I mean, you learn a lot here.
Amazing speakers, unbeatable education, all for cattle producers in the Big Easy. So plan now to go to New Orleans for the 2019 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, January 30th through February 1st. Visit ncba.org for more.
Welcome back as we continue our discussion about beef quality assurance transportation certification and its value to the U.S. beef industry. Here now is Dr. Lily Edwards Callaway, an animal scientist and welfare specialist here at Colorado State University. Dr. Callaway, I know you have been such a strong advocate and supporter of BQA. Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's simple. I think BQA is a great program. So if you really think about the industry and think about animal care guidelines, it's the gold standard for animal care. And I think it's very foundational. It has educational materials for all parts of the industry, all parts of the every sector of the supply chain. And so it also presents a common language for people to understand and work with each other.
I know you do a lot of research. What kind of research is inspired by the transportation certification program?
So I think it says transportation in it. So I mean, that's an obvious one, but I think if we really think about outside of transportation, the whole marketing process. So I think BQA transportation really gives us the ability to drill down into different parts of that process. So from loading at the feed yard, yes, what they're doing in the truck, how long they're in the truck, when they get to the plant, how they're unloaded. And so I think it's really comprehensive of the marketing process.
Tell folks about some of the ongoing research efforts around this whole transportation issue.
So I guess personally at CSU, we really focused on bruising, with the help of some BQA state projects as well that they've helped fund. And so we've looked at bruising and kind of looked at it from a huge welfare standpoint. You know, it probably doesn't feel great, and I think it probably causes a lot of fear in those animals when they're handled aggressively that way. There's also a huge economic component to that as well. And so I think if you think about those couple of things, we've looked at, okay, so how can loading, the behavior of the handlers impact bruising during loading? How can the behavior of the handlers impact unloading behaviors? And then also looking at facility design too, because it's not just people, there's a whole facility in place as well.
So how do you anticipate studies like that actually helping us to improve over the longer period the BQA program and obviously beef quality?
So it's kind of like an investigation. You know, you set up your video cameras and you record all the things in hopes that you'll find the answer at the end once the hide's off the animal. So I think if we look back into the process, hopefully we can say, okay, well, we noticed during loading, this always happened on these groups of cattle. And so what can we then bring back to the program and say, okay, let's make this part of it. During loading, you should really try to do this or really don't try to do this, and hopefully with a good impact on the outcomes at the end.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for all you do to improve the ultimate care and handling of livestock and the quality of our beef product.
Thanks.
To learn more about the Beef Quality Assurance Program, including information on how you can get your transportation certification at no cost, visit the website bqa.org. We're not done talking about beef quality assurance. Still ahead, we'll discuss what the future could hold for the BQA program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be dependable? It means you do what you say you'll do time and time again. Because performance isn't optional, and your task is essential. For over 95 years, we have proven ourselves to be the most dependable choice. That's why the cattlemen of this great nation trust Ritchie to provide fresh water on demand. Ritchie, proud to be a partner to the American Cattlemen since 1921.
If you're looking for outstanding genetics that will work for you, then make plans now to be at the 2018 CK Cattle Headquarters Sale on October 26th in Hope Hall, Alabama. CK Cattle is a 3-generation operation offering the best in Angus, Key Angus, and Sim Angus bulls and females, backed by a family that cares about their customers.
The customer is the most important thing in our operation. You know, the CK guarantee is pretty simple. I mean, we live by the golden rule. We want to treat you like you want to be treated. If you have a problem with your bull, we're going to back them.
Don't miss their 2018 sale offering more than 100 solid 2-year-old bulls and 100 females, including 30 tiger-striped F1 Brayford heifers. It all happens Friday, October 26th. Learn more at the website ckkattle.com.
When it comes to the beef business, there's no room for gray area. The decisions being made in Washington affect the future of the beef industry, the livelihood of your fellow farmers and ranchers. Your National Cattlemen's Beef Association knows there's what benefits cattlemen and there's what doesn't. To us, it's as clear as black and white. Visit joinncba.org to learn more.
Welcome back to Cattlemen and Cattlemen, where today we're highlighting the Beef Quality Assurance Transportation Program. Joining me now is Chase DeCoit, Director of Beef Quality Assurance for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Why is the Beef Quality Assurance Program such a top priority for NCBA, Chase?
Certainly, Kevin. So as a contractor to the Beef Checkoff, the BQA program remains a priority because it connects with producers. It's a real-world, common-sense program that producers can be involved in and prove that they're doing the right thing for animal husbandry, for the animal and cattle's welfare, but also because it benefits their bottom line at the end of the day. By treating those animals right, by making sure that they're following proper BQA guidelines, producers really notice a positive benefit.
We've been talking a lot about the transportation certification program in this program, and maybe you could give us just a little background of what went on behind the scenes in order to develop that program.
Yeah, so coming out of the 2016 National Beef Quality Audit, and for some time there's been conversations around the impact of transportation on beef quality and on the care and welfare of the animals that we raise. And so as the program got put together, a group of experts in both animal care and health, as well as in the transportation industry, and farmers and ranchers like yourself, got together and worked on developing a certification program to extend BQA into the transportation sector. And that really allowed us to cover BQA from pasture to plate.
And what sort of feedback have you been getting specifically related to this transportation certification component?
Certainly. I think as we hear from the industry, from producers, from haulers, from packers, we hear that they've been looking for a program like this, a place that they can go to prove to the consumer that our industry does do the right thing, that we take these matters and these issues seriously, and that we want to care for our animals from the pasture all the way until they reach the consumer.
And you speak about consumers, you know, demand for beef is quite strong right now, but we often talk about the important role consumer confidence plays in that demand for our product. Connect the dots. How does BQA help improve consumer confidence?
Yeah, so BQA is centered around producing a high quality, wholesome, and most importantly, safe beef product. And so by ensuring that we can deliver that safe product and deliver the confidence that we raise those animals in the right manner, consumers believe in our product, they believe in the beef that is raised and that reaches their dinner plate.
So look down the road a little bit for us. What do you see in terms of the future of the BQA program?
Yeah, you know, the great thing about BQA is that every 5 years we measure the program through the National Beef Quality Audits, and we're able to adapt and focus on the aspects of the program to help improve our industry and ultimately improve the bottom lines of our producers.
Very good. Thank you and the rest of your team for all you do to improve the safety and quality of our product.
Certainly, Kevin.
There are many great reasons to become an NCBA member, and one of them is the chance to read the National Cattlemen. The official publication of NCBA provides timely news and articles about issues and events, as well as valuable educational information that can help readers succeed on their own cattle operations. A subscription is included free of charge when you become a member of NCBA. Just call 1-866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. Still ahead, it's time for a visit with our good friend Baxter Black. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Case IH, we believe it's our job to provide you with solutions. That's why our Farmall and Maxim tractors, as well as our tools and attachments, are designed with you in mind. From mowing to baling to loading and more, we're here to help turn your to-dos into to-dones. At Case IH, we'll keep your days running smoothly with equipment that's durable, versatile, and highly efficient. No wonder farmers are more loyal to Case IH than any other brand. Visit your local dealer or go to caseih.com/livestock for more.
When a new calf hits the ground, his clock starts ticking. A belly full of colostrum gives him his best odds, but if he doesn't get any, his time starts running out. That's when you grab a bag of Oxford Ag Colostrum in their patented feeding system. Fill them with warm water, shake it to mix, feed it with a tube or nipple, and you are done. No bucket, no bottle, no mess, and right on time. Get yours at oxfordag.com. Costs less than a dead calf.
Did you know that Prefert makes over 1,000 different farm, ranch, and rodeo items? And now, thanks to Prefert Direct, it's easier than ever before to get access to every item Prefert makes delivered direct to your local dealer. For more information about Prefert Direct, visit us at prefert.com. Prefert, America's #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo.
Ooh, howdy. I guess you're wondering about my pickup. My pickup's no different than an average farm truck. It looks like a University of Wyoming archaeological dig. I never wash it. My friend Lane learned his lesson the hard way, though, and it never would have happened if they hadn't opened a brand new car wash in Yreka, Oklahoma. On grand opening day, there was cars backed up all the way to Wichita Falls. It was noon by the time he finally reached the entrance. He let his wife and dog out there at the curb and pulled up to the long, dark tunnel. He sat there a moment, enjoying the peace and marveled at the modern technology. He remarked to himself how powerfully efficient and foolproof this machinery is. It's amazing, he said to himself. That was about the time the big blue whirling dervish dropped into the bed of his pickup. It sounded like a chainsaw ripping through a 55-gallon drum. Buckets, paint cans, and an airplane wheel sailed out into the street like depth charges. Horseshoes, old bolts, pieces of a disassembled lawnmower carburetor, nails, and a socket set filled the air like machine gun fire. The big brush squealed in pain as a steel fence post went through the observation window. Well, thank goodness the unit shorted out before the attendant could call 911. Lane spent the next 4 hours peeling 300 yards of baler twine, 12 foot of hog wire, a log chain, 2 nylon halters, and a 35-foot rope out of the big whirling blue brush. And by the time he got to sweeping out the bed of the pickup, all of the co-op dog food had melted and dissolved in with a half a bale of hay and the dead leaves, and it just hosed her all out of the road. Man, I said, I guess you learned your lesson. He said, well, I still run it through the car wash, but I've installed an automatic warning device. I said, what's that? Oh, he said, I just leave the dog in the back. This is Baxter Black. From out there.
Thanks, Baxter. Car washes and work trucks can often be a bad combination. Each year, a handful of farms and ranches around the country are honored for their efforts to implement and support BQA practices. These award winners will be celebrated at the 2019 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show coming up in New Orleans. Convention registration is open, so don't wait. Sign up today. The 2019 convention runs from January 30th through February 1st. Go to ncba.org for all the details on how to register for this can't-miss event. We're back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Public land issues are somewhat unique.
The Public Lands Council is valuable to the ranchers because it's someone out there that's speaking their language.
Somebody has to communicate with the agencies, the BLM, the Forest Service, Fish and Wildlife.
Well, the Public Lands Council has provided incredible information and help, I think, to all members of the Congress.
Everything from water rights to endangered species to wildfire to the need to actively manage the lands through grazing.
And there's always a new battle coming up.
The people on the land know much better what's good for them, their land, and their community than anybody in Washington ever will or ever has.
So for them to have someone who is out there helping send their message and helping them keep their industry alive, that's super important for them.
There's no way you can really put a value on what they do for us. So having someone in Washington, D.C., a voice for the industry, a voice for public land ranching, such as PLC, Public Lands Council, is huge.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest cattle industry organization, working every day to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen and policy updates from Beltway Beef, plus big discounts from John Deere, Cabela's, and more great partners. Join now. Call 866-233-3872 or sign up online at ncba.org.
As a viewer of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we want to hear from you. If you have questions or comments or even a story idea for us, drop us an email and we may use them on a future show. Send us your thoughts at our email address, that's c2c@beef.org. And you can always reach us and NCBA through the website ncba.org. Over the years, there have been hundreds of amazing photos taken as part of the Beef Quality Assurance Program. For this week's Legacy Photos, we thought we'd share a small sample of some of these winners in action, caring for their land and their cattle. Well, that wraps up this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week, right here on RFD TV.